delighted to have with us Joan Conn. And I love the way in which you describe the Restavek Freedom Foundation, and I'm quoting here, we're the child advocates, community leaders, reporters, volunteers, students, and parents, but most of all, we are the people that love Haiti. What is a Restavek?
Well, a Restavek is considered by the United Nations a form of modern-day child slavery. It is typically where children are seen as commodities and they are used for the purpose of their labor. They end up in someone else's home because Haiti, of course, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And so they typically end up in a home of someone that might have more means than the sending family that they come from. That family promises to give this child an education, provide food, clothing, and more often than not, that doesn't happen.
So in the front end of that conversation sounds pretty good. Someone's taking in a child, they're going to get housing, there's some employment involvement, cleaning the house, education, clothing, food, but you're saying there's a dark side to this thing.
Yes, I mean, typically what happens is the promises aren't met and the children aren't educated, and not only that, they have a phrase in Haiti regarding these children called la poussa, which means there for that. And so these kids are there for whatever. I mean, it could be to work from sunup to sundown, it could be sexual favors, and they're vulnerable, so they have no voice and they have no one, that they can tell these things to, so they basically suffer in silence.
One of the things I noticed in your background is you mobilize pretty well. Now, you seem to be somewhat of a stranger to the fact that you, at Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, sometime back mobilized, and the number I had was 2,500 volunteers with 100 service projects.
Yeah, well, that was not Cincinnati Hills. That was my church, Crossroads.
That was your church.
Yeah, they started a project, or they wanted to institute a service project, and so I volunteered to head it up, not knowing what I was getting into. But they asked me a question. They said, what do you feel like is your strength? And I said, networking. I feel like I'm a pretty good networker and I can bring people together. And so
how does that networking and this issue in Haiti come together?
It's interesting because in Haiti you have the evangelical church, the Catholic church, and the voodoo religion there. And so trying to bridge the gap between all three of these, because this is a serious social issue where you have to reach your hands across the table and you have to work on this together. And so we have been able to create some programs where the evangelical church, the Catholic church, and the voodoo church has been able to work together. And that is pretty phenomenal because that doesn't happen a lot there. And I think also being able to bridge the gap between the elite community in Haiti and the poor. They don't mix that often. The wealthy there is about 2% of the population.
If the people don't want this to be happening, why is it continuing?
I think no one's ever really raised a voice about the issue. So it's status quo. It's been embedded in the culture for more than 200 years. So it's been part of the culture, like slavery, in the United States. It took Martin Luther King to say, hey, folks, look at this. This is not right. So I think what we're trying to do is that same thing, is open people's eyes to the injustices that are being committed towards children. And it's interesting the change that we're starting to see because we got a lot of pushback in the beginning.
Well, let me walk you back maybe to the beginning. It's a great segue. Thank you for that. What led to this? Was this an initial a service trip that you took to Haiti, a vacation? I mean, how did you become aware?
Nothing too altruistic. My husband and I sail. We have a sailboat. And so we were going to have to land in Haiti to meet our sailboat, which was on a little island off of Haiti called Île-Vache. And so we sailed into Port-au-Prince, never having been to Haiti before, but traveled extensively. And we landed in Port-au-Prince and got off the plane and was like, oh my goodness, where have we just landed? Because we were there in 2000, the year 2000, and things are much different now than they were then. So when we got off the plane, neither one of us spoke French or Creole, which is the language in Haiti. And so we found a driver. It was 150 miles we had to go. Thought it would take us maybe 2 hours, 3 at the most. 9 hours later, we ended up, it was dark. The taxi driver, or the driver that we had, said, you have to get out of the car. So he started taking our stuff out of the car and putting it on the side of the street. I'm looking at my husband like, you got to do something. We can't stay here. And so about that time, this young man came up who spoke English and had a cell phone, which back then cell phones were pretty much unheard of. And so he called the island and told the folks that we were here because we were looking for what they call the city dock. Okay. Nobody knew the city dock. Anyway, to make a long story short, we finally got there and took off on our sailboat. And I put Haiti far, far in the back of my mind. As a matter of fact, when I was driving through Haiti, I didn't want to see it anymore. And I just closed my eyes. It's overwhelming. It overwhelms every sense, from the sense of sight to smell to everything. And so I thought, never going back to Haiti. My husband, on the other hand, calls it, like in the movie The Matrix, a splinter in your mind. And he couldn't get Haiti out of his mind. Wow. And so he said, I'm going back. And I said, have a good trip. And he went without me and came back, and he said, we could do something there, and it wouldn't take a lot to make a difference. And so I did go back with him, and wow, changed my life.
When you say changed your life, what does that mean?
Well, we came across, first of all, we started with an English program because that's what the kids said. We need to speak English and we need computer skills to get a job.
And when you say even computer skills, or did you find a school that...
No, we created one.
You created a school.
Mm-hmm.
Was this in the same place that you had gone initially?
Yes, in the south of Haiti. And so we went back there and we started talking to young people and just said, why aren't you working? And they said, we can't get jobs. And so we asked them what would it take, and they said we need to speak English and we need computer skills. So we started an English program and we started a computer program, and then began to see these children. And when I would ask about these children, I was told they're Restavek. And I thought, what's a Restavek? And they said, they're Restavek. So I came home and I started researching the word to find out what it meant, and I was like, it can't be going on today. That can't be possible. And I read a book, and the book was just shocking. And then I continued to research it and tried to find organizations working on the issue. And nobody was there were some that were touching the issue, but not going full throttle on the issue. And to me, it was a serious human rights crisis that no one was addressing. And so we decided to go back to Haiti and see what we could do.
How many, when we're talking just raw numbers of Restaveks who are living in Haiti, what are we talking?
Well, the latest report that just came out said about 450,000 kids are living as Restavek.
It's somewhat ironic because if I'm correct with my history of Haiti, that came out of a slave rebellion.
You're right. Absolutely right.
But slavery is still endemic in terms of those kinds of numbers.
Right, with children, yes.
What's been the government response to what you've been doing?
We got a lot of pushback in the beginning, even from churches and pastors, and because that's where we started. We thought, okay, if anybody can help us work on this,
we've got friends here.
It'd be the church, right? So we met with some pastors in the beginning, and they didn't want to touch it.
And the reason why? Why would they not?
I think it's so embedded in the culture, and it's a very difficult issue. It's very complex because sometimes you can actually help a child if you take a child, and help to raise that child. But that's about 1% of the kids that end up really being helped by living in someone else's home. And so everybody on the streets knows what that word means. It means abuse, and it means child slavery.
As someone from a Western nation, do I have culpability here? This situation obviously is right nearby. It's the closest nation to the United States, impoverished nation, one of the most impoverished nations in the world. Do we have culpability in the United States?
I think that it's awareness. I think nobody knew about it. So until you know about an issue, how can you really work on the issue? So I think that we have culpability in the fact that when people go there now, They do know about it. They're beginning to know about it. Address it. You're going to work on an orphanage, or you're going to work with a church. Talk to the people there. Say, is this an issue that you're working on in your church? Is this an issue that you're working on in your community? And I think that is what we have to begin to do, because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars pouring into Haiti.
Right.
Churches and missions groups going all the time, but not addressing this issue, and it must be addressed.
And you're very articulate, obviously, and I've heard numerous places where you've been speaking. And how do you get the word out? How are you personally engaged here?
Well, mainly in Haiti. I mean, we're trying to make a difference in Haiti. So, but here it's all about raising funding and putting pressure on our government to sort of address the issue in Haiti. So we did have some congressmen that we've been speaking with about the issue. They came to visit Haiti, spent several days with us. Congressman Trent Franks and Congressman Alderman and the Assistant Secretary of State, Michelle Bond. And Michelle Bachmann was there as well. So I think as we begin to address this in our own government, they can help begin to start putting a little more pressure on funding here from our government to help go towards some of these issues in Haiti.
If you had your own ability to just speak directly to the leadership of Haiti, what would you say?
I would say, stop this. You cannot treat your children as slaves. There's got to be a better way. But education plays such a huge role in this. So until education is free in Haiti, it's going to always be a problem, because parents in the rural communities want their children to be educated.
Right.
So they're going to send them, to the cities, because there's no schools in these rural provinces. So I think, education's got to be the number one fix in Haiti. And this issue, because this issue, there's so many things that stem from this issue. So many social ills that Haiti has, such as poverty and gender inequality and violence and illiteracy. All of that stems from Restavek. So if we could fix this, we'd have a chance to change Haiti.
Do you have hope on this?
If I didn't have hope, I wouldn't be giving my life to this. Yeah. So absolutely. I see change, and that's why I have hope.
Give us some examples of some of that change.
Well, like we talked about in the beginning, when we first went there, nobody would even talk to us about the issue. Now we're engaged with more than 2,500 churches in Haiti who are working on this issue. We've trained more than 70,000 people on a biblically based justice curriculum on God's heart for children. We're working directly with the police department, creating, I think you talked with Jeremy and Krista, we created a child database, which is a child protection policy. We had submitted articles to the Novelis, which is the most popular newspaper in Haiti. They wouldn't print them. They said, this issue's old. Nobody's going to do anything about it. Now they print half-page articles on us. University students who once said, why are you working on this? You're not going to do anything. Now the professors want us to take them as interns. So yes, there's change, and people are speaking out every day. Radio programs, pastors, preaching from the pulpit. They never did that before. It's awesome.
How does someone in the gathering get involved with you in this?
I think it's hard sometimes because the issue is so deep and it's so complex, and we can't take a lot of people into the communities where we work. But I think they can learn about the issue for sure. Come to Haiti and see what's going on there. Engage, of course, financially. There's always that need in Haiti. But if you have contacts with people in our government, help make them aware of this issue. Right, because there is money that's being appropriated towards child slavery and trafficking issues. And Restavek is a trafficking issue, and it's definitely child slavery. Be aware of it, because Haiti's kind of forgotten in these issues.
Would it be safe to say Joan Conn, abolitionist?
Oh, I wouldn't go there myself, but I would have a hard time with that description. But I feel like, God has placed this totally in my life and in my heart. And God has worked through us in amazing, amazing ways. And I feel like it's not me. I'm doing the work, but I feel like God has given us the power. And God is opening the doors. And so God is the abolitionist. I'm just his hands and feet.
Joan, sometimes when we talk about issues like Restavek or bonded slave labor, or I could name the variety of social ills. It appears sometimes if that's the only thing we talk about, like we're condemning the country, like everyone in that country is under some sort of a dark cloud, which is somewhat unjust itself to the nation itself and to many of the people who are trying to do the right thing. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, Haiti's a beautiful country with beautiful people. And one of the great things about Haiti is this family solidarity. And so I think, if we could begin to get Haitians to focus on this, to see all children as equal and as their children. We had a conference called Moi c'est Haiti too, which means I am Haiti too. And it was very powerful. And I think that, it's Haitians that are doing this work in Haiti. I'm just facilitating. They're coming up with the programs. They're the ones driving it. They're the ones that are passionate about it. And that's where we are. Today we have a music contest called Songs for Freedom. 80,000 people participated in it. Haitians, not Americans, Haitians, standing up with signs saying, "De Abba system Restavek," down with the Restavek system. So it's not Americans driving this, it's Haitians driving this. And we are so proud of what they're doing in Haiti.
Well, this has been an inspiring set of minutes. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.